Hello there and welcome to the video. This one's all for Naboo. I'm kind of crazy about Naboo, and this whole video it's going to be about just that mid-rim planet. Naboo is in the Chommel sector, 34,000 light years away from the core worlds, and it's a pretty awesome place. Kind of been there myself. Anakin Skywalker shares the same love as me. He says, if I grew up here, I don't think I'd ever leave. About Naboo, I don't think I would ever leave either. Naboo is home of the Gungans and the Naboo, and it's the birthplace of some pretty important people in the Star Wars galaxy like Padme Amidala and Sheev Palpatine, who both served in the Galactic Senate for Naboo, and one of them of course would become Chancellor and then Emperor. Naboo was made up of mostly farming land, but it had a variety of landscapes, from the grassy plains backed by waterfalls where Anakin and Padme frolic around, to swamps that are the entrance to underwater Gungan world. Naboo didn't have a molten core, but it was all made up of rocks that flooded and allowed for these tunnels and caves that made up the Gungan world. Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Jar Jar made good use of these underwater passages to get from one side of Naboo to the other in good time. Wikipedia says that Naboo is a lush world of beautiful green pastures, rolling hills, and vast meadows. It also has immense swamps and forests and is home to many types of creatures. Shaks grazed on the plains, hunted in turn by tusk cats, while predatory Veermoks stalk the forests and swamps where Fambas, Kadu, Nunas, Ikopi, and Falumpasets roamed. The seas and swamp waterways are home to many types of fish and monsters that dwelled in the deeps. Rays, Mies, Tees, Lays, and Doos swam past the underwater bubble cities of the Gungans. While stalking them are predators like the Opie sea killer, Kolu clawfish, and largest of all, the Sandu aqua monster. The planet's core is hollow and filled with caverns and watery passages, allowing travel, though dangerous, from one area of planet to another by traveling through the center of the planet. Shaks are the things that like Anakin rode on and he fell off. Rays, Mies, Tees, Las, and Doos definitely were named by the Gungans. And what the Gungans have for themselves down there is pretty cool. They can just swim down into these orb bubble-like things and then just step inside and breathe oxygen. The view of these when the three, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Jar Jar are swimming down there to see the boss guy is really pretty. Just one of the many pretty views on Naboo. It was known as an idyllic world, which is just facts. With its natural beauty, balance, top-tier architecture, and peaceful society, it's just an unreal place. I guess it is not real. Like, most of it is CGI, but not all of it. On Lake Como in northern Italy is a real, unreal place. Villa del Balbianello. And the day I went there was like actually just the best day of my life. I think I had like a better time than Anakin there. The amount of like Star Wars that is still left in that villa, just crazy. Unreal. But it's real. So this is the place where Anakin says, I don't like sand. And of course, where him and Padme get married at the end of Attack of the Clones. It's Padme's lake vacation villa, and he spends a few days with her there as her Jedi protector. And they just have a really fun time in a beautiful place, rolling around the green fields and eating pears, the forest. Those are some of my favorite scenes from Attack of the Clones and just in anything Star Wars in general. They always have me like longing for Naboo. It just feels so flawless and just looks so beautiful there. Looking back 4,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, when Naboo was discovered, it quickly became a popular place for hunters and vacationers. The native Gungans thrived on Naboo thousands of years before this happened, but the arrival of the colonists and vacationers led to their underwater escape. Whenever the new settlers interacted with the Gungans, war broke out. So the two societies stayed separate and the Gungans stayed underwater. While the Naboo expanded to more planets in the Chommel sector, the Gungans fought against each other, and soon enough the Naboo were also going head to head. After that conflict ended, the Naboo joined the Galactic Republic in 1867 BBY. They reached an era of peace that lasted hundreds of years. Later in the High Republic era, a Jedi temple was established on Naboo, and it was a prized posting among Jedi Knights. Like, I definitely see why. Bring me to Naboo. Later, an invasion took place in 228 BBY. Naboo was left in a complete blackout after Ion Blast took out the capital's plasma mine shafts. There were people called the Nihil who took over Naboo for a short time before the planet was liberated by a Jedi Republic Defense Coalition assault. Okay, that was some pretty distant history. I'm gonna move forward to what you probably know better. In the twilight of the Republic, around the Phantom Menace time, Padme Amidala was elected to rule Naboo at 14 years old. I cannot imagine 14-year-old me ruling a whole planet. And Naboo were really something. It's kind of wild that such like a high up planet like Naboo would have a teenage girl rule them, but I guess it worked okay enough. A decade before the Clone Wars would begin, Naboo faced another blockade and invasion, this time by the Trade Federation. If you've seen The Phantom Menace, you know what I'm talking about. This invasion was all part of Palpatine's plan because it gave Naboo sympathy and solidarity, helping Palps to become the Republic's new Supreme Chancellor. The Naboo and the Gungans had to work together to defeat the Trade Federation, so them kind of having no option but to just work together ended the conflict between the two societies pretty much. You and the Naboo form a symbiont circle. What happens to one of you will affect the other. You must understand this, says Obi-Wan Kenobi. Even though their worlds were separate, the Naboo and the Gungans still had to work together because they were on the same planet. Because Padme handled the Trade Federation invasion so well, probably already know this, but she became the senator for Naboo. And when the Clone Wars began, Naboo and the Gungans remained loyal to the Republic. In 19BBY, the Clone Wars ended, Padme Amidala died, Palpatine proclaimed himself emperor, and the Naboo were in a dark time. Palpatine's stain is still heavy on our people, and we carry that shame still, says Sosha Saruna. She's a queen who ruled Naboo in the time of the Galactic Empire. They mourned the death of Padme and resented the fact that their world, Naboo, could bring forth such a man as Emperor Palpatine. Of course, Naboo came under heavy imperial rule, but it did still thrive during the age of the Empire because it was the Emperor's home world. He wasn't going to destroy it or take advantage of it too much like what was done with places like Gorman because it was his home world. When the Empire fell and the New Republic was restored, all the Gungans and the Naboo were filled with joy, and they celebrated the fall of the Emperor and the Empire. Throughout all of this, the Naboo always put a lot of emphasis on treating every citizen in some sort of art. Each of them thrived off of this and reflected their just beautiful home planet through their work. Naboo brought up sophisticated musicians, politicians, farmers, traders, fishermen, artisans, and scholars, and were respected, admired, and kept a high status across time in the galaxy. Their dedication to peace also would add to this. The Naboo kept a beautiful, organized, and functional society. Of course, they created, built, and designed a lot of things, but one that stands out for me is the Naboo starfighter. It's just so shiny and like sophisticated, kind of like the Naboo, and the rest of the galaxy loved it too. Naboo was relatively small in its population and planet size, but that didn't prevent it from being important in galactic politics and stuff like that, and from having a big influence on the surrounding worlds. Naboo is just so pretty and perfect. I don't even have words for it. I could watch those scenes of Anakin and Padme rolling around in the green fields and them looking over the lake and just all the views of Naboo, like the capital, Padme's villa. I can't get over how pretty Naboo is. I could just watch those scenes over and over. And even though I do love Coruscant, I'm pretty crazy about Coruscant too. Naboo is the place that actually just, if I could live there, that would be amazing. Anybody want to pitch in and buy Villa del Balbianello with me? I don't think it's for sale, but I really feel like I've experienced a taste of Naboo by going to that villa. And now I just want to experience more Naboo, you know? With the insane waterfalls and meadows and palaces and villas and peoples and Gungans and creatures too. Naboo is in a league of its own when it comes to Star Wars planets and every planet in general, I think. If I grew up here, I don't think I'd ever want to leave. Just bringing it back to that quote from Anakin. I would never want to leave either. Anytime we have good weather, I'm just like, this is a Naboo kind of day. He also says, I can't wait to breathe the sweet breeze that comes off the rolling hills. Whenever I try to visualize the Force, those hills are what I see. The Naboo hills. Also, just from Anakin, we can see that Naboo is pretty special to anyone who visits. There's so much I could get into when talking about Naboo or just any Star Wars planet in general. I don't know what else to say about it except that, I don't know, George Lucas kind of cooked. I could probably get into like every war, every creature, every location, and just go on forever, but that's Naboo. I want to go back. I'm going to take Anakin's quote, not a day has gone by where I haven't thought about you, and apply it to my little visit to Naboo. Naboo is just one of the things that really makes me love Star Wars and makes it complete. And I just love the layer that it added to the galaxy. I made this video for Naboo because I love Naboo. I hope you get to go someday too. So goodbye, and may the Force be with you.